The reason they keep recycling this narrative, because if you just say it's possible, there's a general impeachment inquiry out there, it's not news. And they're recycling this impeachment narrative. Why? Because they don't want to cover Pedophile Island. Anything the media can do, whatever they can do, just don't talk about Pedophile Island. So context while we talk about impeachment a little bit here.
Yeah.
A lot of folks have, not that many honestly, but some people have asked why we don't cover the impeachment, I guess, we wouldn't say proceedings, just the whole impeachment story more. Sometimes people say like, is it, you know, you've seen these comments, is it because you don't want to run anything critical of your boy Trump? First of all, I say, my boy?
Your boy? Your boy.
Yeah, what are you spelling with two eyes? My boy? Trump's my boy? Like, what does that even mean, my boy? He's the president of the United States.
You're white.
What are you, the guy in charge of the people on the railroad tracks at Cool Hand Luke? Now listen here, boy.
Oh boy.
You have a failure to communicate the impeachment proceedings. Go screw yourself. So here's why. Let me explain why here really quickly. And I don't know if you have the long shot. Hopper keeps pacing back and forth here today. He does not like. He's like, this impeachment. The impeachment is bullshit. There's nothing new. This is the truth. There's nothing new to report. We did a whole segment on impeachment a while back. Nothing new has happened. And it's remarkable because usually September, October, November, we've talked about this half-Asian bill. Yep. These are the fast times for the news. It's a faster news cycle. And then it sort of breaks between Thanksgiving and Christmas, which should tell you that news is manipulated. If all of a sudden between two American holidays, nothing really happens. But for some reason, September, October, and this far November, they have not... There's nothing going on, and so they're kind of slowing down their own news cycle by continually covering impeachment. And I want to be clear here, this is a long montage because I want there to be no doubt. The media has been claiming, really for years at this point, but certainly the last few months, the last several quarters, where you've had record economic growth. So there you go, you can see that parallel. That he is, and I don't just want to, I know I saw MRC did a great montage of them the media talking about impeachment, but what I want to specifically address is they have been saying now for over a year that removal from office is imminent, right? And that's why the story catches up. It's like, well, this time he's going to be impeached. If you don't believe me, don't take my word for it.
On a momentous day!
The walls closing in on President Donald Trump.
The walls are closing in.
It feels as if we're getting closer and closer to the truth.
It must feel as if this is closing in on him.
Folks, Donald Trump is clearly losing it.
It feels like the walls are closing in.
Oh, he had the sounder?
Bet your butt I did. It's related, trust me. Impeachment is happening.
And they are going to impeach him. I mean, I think that's a foregone conclusion.
At some point in the future, Donald Trump will no longer be president of the United States.
I mean, that's technically not a lie. Look, they actually have the applause sign.
If this isn't impeachable, what is?
Well, we know that it's completely
Jason Priestley's aged poorly.
The impeachment will prove devastating to Donald Trump. No. And he will not survive it.
The only out that the president will have, the only out will be to resign the office.
Really?
I have no idea when that day will come.
I think it'll probably happen before Christmas or slightly after.
It looks like Trump could be impeached sometime around the holidays.
Charles, you believe that actually President Trump will resign or be forced out in the next 12 months?
Yes, I do, actually.
Ding, 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 ding. We got a winner.
Now is when we can talk about impeachment.
Would the market crash if Trump were impeached?
No, the president cannot pardon himself to avoid impeachment.
Stop the hammering.
In order to save his family and himself, will resign, pardon the children, and get pardoned by Mike Pence, very much like Richard Nixon was. The president cannot pardon the vice president to avoid impeachment.
In 2014, Donald Trump tweeted,
Is he crying?
"Are you allowed to impeach a president for gross incompetence?" Please do not give the president any ideas.
But you know, and it's the same.
Well, I guess we're about to find out.
The tiptoeing is over. The whispers are turning into shouts. President Trump's fitness for office is now the top story in the country.
Donald Trump's done. He's done. There's no question about that. He's done. After 2 years of avoiding it, Trump may finally face articles of impeachment.
Trump is goading us to impeach him.
One of the organizations that launched the Impeach
the witch
Donald
from the
Trump Now
Kevin
campaign
Costner
just moments
Robin
after
Hood.
Trump's inauguration.
That's what'll end Trump.
What this moment needs from reporters is more reporting.
On a day,
Any kind of reporting at all.
for impeaching Donald Trump
implicitly implying that he is one of them.
less hypothetical than ever.
Not more speculating or guessing
Wait,
or rumor
he's
mongering,
asking for real
but
reporters
more
to do some
real
work, not
reporting
himself.
of what's going on.
I'm going to say
I
that
don't have
one
a
more time.
budget. It was all
On
spent
a
on
day
plugs that
when
didn't work.
impeaching the president of the United States is actually a valid topic.
Watching President Trump, you have the sense of someone caught
Looks like
in
a Jim
trap,
Henson
and the more
character
he
that stayed in the
tries
creature shop.
to get out
too
of it,
long.
the deeper in he gets.
So how do you see this ending now? Does it end at the ballot box
With
in
me
a
being
year?
fired.
Does he make it to a second term? Does he resign as a result of impeachment?
I said it weeks ago. I'm going to say it again. Mr. Trump will not serve out his term.
President.
No way, no how. He will be forced to ultimately resign.
This week, Tony Schwartz
Said it very
tweeted,
authoritatively.
the circle is closing
Never been
from
wrong.
blinding
Yeah,
speed.
Evan,
Trump is going to resign and declare victory before Mueller and Congress leave him no choice. Trump's presidency is effectively over. Would be amazed if he survives till the end of the year. More likely resigns by fall, if not sooner.
We'll put the cover back up. That is liberal catnip. You can't tell me that any liberal
honest.
can pass by that bill and not by that book
They should
immediately.
just start printing the bestseller list now.
It's number
Go to
one.
paperback.
That is number one right now.
And impeachment begins. We win. Okay, so
It's like catnip for f***ing hack clones. It is just.
Oh my God!
And I almost wanted to put timestamps on it. It was going to take too much work. Thank you so much to our PA,
That was great.
Gibby, who put it on, and of course, Reg.
Yeah.
This is so important that they are saying it's imminent. This is really clear. I want to be clear about this. It's not just saying, well, could he be impeached? Like George W. Bush, they wanted to impeach.
Right.
They have consistently been. If you watch CNN for 24 hours, and I'm never doing a 16-hour live stream again. We're going to do a
Don't
special
you
Christmas
dare.
show. I'm not
Please,
doing
no,
that.
please
That
no.
broke me mentally. I'd rather be waterboarded by Tim Kennedy all day day.
I heard with that.
All day, 2 hours, day.
Day. Which means every.
Because you know he's serious.
Just in case.
Because you will see when you watch CNN for any 24-hour cycle, breaking. It's like, impeachment is imminent.
Yeah.
And of course, if you watch the Young Turks, you get eye cancer. So, and the reason, by the way, the
Not sure
reason they keep
how.
recycling this narrative,
true.
because if you just say it's possible, there's a general impeachment inquiry out there, it's not news.
Right.
You don't need to break your news cycle for that. That's why they consistently have to claim, no, it's going down today. It's happening. It's like a school fight today at the bike racks.
3 o'clock.
Here we go.
And they're recycling this impeachment narrative. Why? Because they don't want to cover Pedophile Island.
Boom.
We saw that with CNN. Amy Robach, go back to our interview with James O'Keefe.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein, known pedophile, yet a Pedophile Island, was a sex ring trafficker, a leader of he was a sex trafficker who had a ring. I don't know if it's a sex trafficking ring. That seems appropriate.
That seems right. Yeah.
The point is, anything the media can do, whatever they can do, just don't talk about Pedophile Island. Can we trot out Aaron Brockovich to talk about tap water or some shit?
There's got to be some chromium
To
somewhere.
give you an idea, if it's not impeachment, if it's not impeachment,
Right. There's always something else.
Well, there really isn't though, because let me prove this to you.
Nothing meaningful.
Nothing meaningful, exactly.
Nothing meaningful.
Case in point, Brian Stelter literally did an entire, and I'm not saying literally like millennials do, like figuratively, because you're going to see, literally did an entire segment when he wasn't talking about impeachment. Brian Stelter this week, when he wasn't doing impeachment, an entire segment counting President Trump's typos.
But I've never seen anyone do a comprehensive study of his spelling errors.
For a
Look at
reason.
what they mean.
Yeah,
So
no idea why.
That's where
There's a
Fact Base
reason for that.
comes in. Fact Base is this excellent website that has every single word the president says, some other politicians as well. It looks at all of Trump's tweets, even the deleted ones, for this database of typos and other screw-ups.
Okay, he could have introduced that segment literally saying, I've never seen anybody else waste this much of your time.
Yeah, exactly.
Hard-hitting news.
I've never seen anyone do an entire segment on Trump's tweets, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure they have. I've never seen anyone do an entire segment on the African squirrels' nut gathering patterns in relation to climate change. So we're going to do a special.
A 2 hour
2 hours, yeah.
marathon.
I hear
Only
Brian
two?
Stelter.
That's all you need.
I mean,
Stay Puft. Yeah.
We've done the segment, but I don't get it. Like, there are people I disagree with that I understand. Like Anderson Cooper, I don't agree with him, but I get it. He's a good newscaster. Chris Cuomo, I can't stand, but he has the right connections. At least he's got a face for television. Like, I kind of get it. If you tune into whatever, even some women on The View, you understand that they can kind of do the cackling back and forth. There's some kind of value there.
Yeah.
Brian
Cackling.
Stelter, he's a talentless, formerly gap-toothed, bald, fat that seems really gay, gets every single story wrong. It's like a Rubik's Cube that I can never figure out. Like, I want to bring in a Japanese kid to tell me how to do it. And maybe, I get that that's ad hominem. I don't know. Maybe that's the brilliance of Brian Stelter. He makes himself seem to have such little, if any, redeeming qualities as a human being that the only criticism of him can be ad hominem and he can play victim. Maybe that's his strategy. Good for you, Brian Stelter.
8D chess, man.
One for you. He's playing 8D. I'm playing 8D chess. These people, they will cover anything on Trump if it's negative, even if it's not newsworthy. And I just don't see the purpose of covering something until it's relevant here. And I want to be clear about this. Like when there's a terrorist attack, we always, best practice is we try to wait. Or if there's a shooting, wait for a little bit of information because we're not really beholden to having the exclusive scoop because this is an entertainment show.
We don't want to give people wrong information.
We don't want to give people wrong information. Not only are they proven wrong verifiably over and over on Trump's impeachment, their own narrative keeps changing, right? So first he was going to be impeached because of the Russian collusion. Mueller report found none.
Yeah, an incredibly extensive investigation, turning up every stone and found nothing.
So they're like, well, then we got to find something else. I got to find something else because they have to do real reporting, guys.
And everybody thought that was
my wife was the one who told me I have to do it.
And we already said the Mueller report was going to end him, so
I was like, sweetheart, who I think is beautiful and I have sex with all the time, what should I cover? And she was like, impeachment. And I was like, okay. Ad hominem. I get that's the brilliance of Brian Stelter. It's all that's left.
That's good. That's good.
There's nothing to hit.
I wish I loved anything as much as he loved faking being straight. So then after Russian collusion, Donald Trump would be impeached because of the Ukrainian quid pro quo. Called their bluff. President Trump did release a transcript. Turned out to be nothing.
Baller.
So then the Democrats, they don't want the whistleblowers to appear, right? They don't want them actually appear. They just want it to be anonymous. But they continue to contradict the official transcript, and they say that there was some funny business going on. Of course, no identities are being released as far as the whistleblowers, and they're not testifying. With the Democrats, and I understand we'll get into whistleblower laws and protecting anonymous sources, but with the Democrats and the media, it's always an anonymous source that has all the info. That's the concern. You should just pepper it in every now and then with something verifiable. And here's something else, too, I do want to talk about, go to Bill here really quickly, because Rand Paul talked about this, the right to face your accuser. Sure. Right? Now, that's in a criminal case. Right. And in this case, it's not a criminal trial, but they are making criminal accusations. So how does that...
So that's one context to that is important, that articles of impeachment aren't limited to just crimes. There is just a general kind of bad acts umbrella that could be used for articles of impeachment, which is this relatively new and gray area about where you're going to be able to answer the questions. But I think the most important part would be, why do we have in the criminal system the right to face your accuser? It's because when faced with the harsh reality and light and the strict questioning, people's stories will either stick if they're true or they won't. Right. And here, that is the point. If there is a whistleblower and the whistleblower has allegations, the allegations are true, then the whistleblower should have, certainly there will be consequences, I'm sure, but there should be that ability to allow the highest office in the land to be able to address those accusations.
I will say this. I don't understand the world in which the left... I understand that there is some gray territory with this law, and that's what I wanted to get your take on it. But what I don't understand is the world that the left lives in, where someone can come forward completely anonymous with no evidence at this point, and something that evidence or whatever claims that contradict their previous claims, never face the music, never appear in court. We don't know who they are, and the president gets impeached? Like, I don't understand the game that they want to play. You think he's going to be impeached?
Do I think the articles will come?
Yeah.
I think they will. And I think they will because of the showmanship that needs to go into it, as opposed to a legitimate basis, right? Because remember, we say this all the time, anyone can file a lawsuit for any reason. It's the next question, because there's no gatekeeper saying at the courthouse steps, well, let me read this first and decide if we're going to let it in. Similarly, even though there are procedures in place that will require them to jump, kind of hoops to jump through to be able to have the articles of impeachment, again and again and again, we keep hearing the cry wolf. Is it 2 years ago that he was getting impeached immediately? How about it 18 months ago? No, 12 months ago, 6 months ago? I mean, at some point you just say, look, if you've got it, show it.
At some point. At some point it would make their case a little strong, make it easier for them, and it would also make it easier for me, so I wouldn't have to read your stupid questions about why I'm not covering impeachment. This is exactly why. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Now, if the articles are brought forward, if there is an impeachment, absolutely we'll be covering it. But at this point, just people going, what, he's going to be impeached now. Now. When is then? Now, soon.
Free crab tomorrow.
And here's something else too that I haven't heard anyone else talk about this. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily original, but with all of the recent impeachment hysteria, right? Now it's been about the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Has anyone stopped to consider the massive contradiction? First, it was going to be impeachment because of Russian collusion, and that didn't work. And now it's the Ukraine. And by the way, Ukrainian officials, I don't know if it's the president, prime minister, several higher-up officials have said that Donald Trump did not pressure them. Right. The Democrats say that they're lying and they're just trying to make Trump look good. I don't know if you know this, but Ukraine and Russia are mortal enemies. They don't like each other at all. I mean, this is pretty recent, right?
Yeah.
2014 was Russia, the annex with the Crimea and all that stuff.
yeah.
Crimea, however you pronounce it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't watch Russia Today because I'm not a Putin puppet.
Sorry.
But ever since then, the relations between Ukraine and Russia have been extremely tense. As of right now, by the way, they have no diplomatic relations.
Right.
Ukrainians have officially recommended its citizens don't even travel to Russia at all, and they've even banned some Russian television stations. And by the way, though the Kremlin won't admit it, it looks like they've been sending in troops to aid the pro-Russian rebels in their efforts. 10,000 people have died so far in the conflict.
Wow.
So if Donald Trump was really Putin's stooge, which they're still claiming, by the way, the media, why would Ukrainian presidents or prime ministers carry the water for Trump? If he is a plant for Russia, they would have every incentive to expose and damage Donald Trump as much as possible because they hate Putin.
Right.
They hate Russia. It's like the moon landing conspiracy. And I don't want to I know people are going to, just
can already hear the comments.
The point is, sorry, Hopper's upset because I was talking about Brian Stelter and he saw the clip. The moon landing situation, the reason I want to go on a second, if the moon landing was faked, we believe that all world governments are in on it together. The Russians, who wanted to get to the moon first, would have every incentive to release to the public that the United States faked the moon landing because they'd want to embarrass us.
Right.
The same thing with Ukraine. I guess you don't say the anymore. They dropped the. With Ukraine, they would have every reason in the world to try and hang Donald Trump out to dry if he was a Putin puppet. And by the way, here's something that's not debatable. Okay, we have to go to Donald Trump Jr. in a second. Yeah. But this is something that is not up for debate, and I rarely say that. It's not like Samantha Bee or Young Turks or Chelsea Handler are like, listen, that's a fact, it's not up for debate. I don't do that very often. In this case, I will say it. I will put my stamp on it. If you believe the mainstream media and you really, really hate President Trump, you still have to pick. Either President Trump is a puppet for Putin or he's working quid pro quo with his buddies in Ukraine. It has to be one or the other.
Yeah.
Period. But the media and the Democratic National Committee, they want to impeach him for both. What does that tell you about the legitimacy of these claims? Hey there, YouTube viewers. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell if you're already subscribed to this channel because that lets you know when new videos come out and they don't show up on the YouTube search feed. Also, there are videos playing in boxes here. Click one of those. Just of all the things that I just mentioned, all you have to do is one. And if you don't, I will run for the United States presidency under the 1064th percent Cherokee Party. I have yet to pick my VP.